crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi, and we have our guest here, who is Mr. Larry Lelli.
Hi, hello, everyone.
We're working on this thing. We are doing, if you watched episode 1, we're finishing the producers here. So I'm doing it, it's a diptych, which is half the painting is Matthew Broderick, which is I have, and he has Nathan Lane. And we're finishing up here, but we're on our second episode, and we just got to the fact that Larry was born here, Larry went there, then he went to Tennessee, Nashville, toured on a bus. Now we're back to, we made it to Broadway, because he is a Broadway drummer.
Yeah.
So he was just saying to me, I was like, well, we were kind of chit-chatting about a bunch of stuff, but we stopped because we were like, we need to save this. Yeah. So I was saying, Mel Brooks produced The Producers.
Yeah, he wrote it.
He wrote it. Oh, he did?
Yep.
And then the
producer... Well, because it originally was a movie of his, if you remember from way, way back.
He wrote it?
It was originally a film.
Who was in it?
Gene Wilder.
Oh, really?
And...
Gene Wilder was in it? You know what? I love him. He's hilarious.
I can't remember who else was in it.
Oh, that's because I haven't
seen it.
I've never seen it, I don't think. I don't think I've seen Gone with the Wind, and that's pretty bad. But I can't believe it. So Mel Brooks wrote it.
Yeah.
So he's what do you call him? A
screenwriter.
Screenwriter.
Yeah, and a director.
He is?
He wrote and directed it.
Now, have you ever met him?
Yeah. He was around all the time when The Producers was being made. And he's the funniest guy. Like, he'd just be sitting there. And they would say,
Mel Brooks, more than
Mel, we need a joke here for this scene. And he'd think for a second, and he'd just say something off the top of his head, and it'd be brilliant, and everybody would fall down laughing.
Like total improv?
Like just genius. He's a genius.
He is?
Genius.
He is?
Genius. And the nicest guy.
And so nice?
So nice.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what were you doing when that was playing? Like when you were playing for them?
Well, yeah.
The drums?
I played that show, yeah.
You did?
Yeah. And so
you get scared? Like, do you take beta blockers or something for that? Some musicians do.
No.
You don't get nervous? Shake?
No. It's funny that I
my
get
drumstick would be like this.
producing a show than when I'm playing a show. Because when you're producing a show, you're sitting out in the audience, you have really no control over what's going to happen.
True.
But when I'm drumming on a show or conducting a show, I feel like I have the ultimate control. Because I'm in charge of what's going on. The drummer or the conductor are like the most powerful people during the show.
I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
So you don't get nervous, shake, you don't get the crowd. No. Big crowds don't bother you, obviously.
No. It's just because especially when I'm drumming, it's like I'm home. That's my home.
I can't even believe it. And you've got your own space. It's kind of like, how much of a space does that take up? Like where we are right now or bigger? Big?
Well, no, this was much bigger than where we would, traditionally we're in an orchestra pit. So right below the front of the stage, there's a pit, there's another level down.
Fit 100 people easy.
Well, no.
Okay, no?
Back in the day, you could fit maybe 40.
Okay.
That was the largest probably Broadway.
Really?
But they've shrunken. Is that a word? Shrunken?
Shrunken. We don't know.
Somebody look that up.
I don't know. I say funner.
The pits are smaller these days.
Really?
Because they needed more room for like all the automation and all the electronics and the equipment that's moving the set around and things like that. So the pits have gotten smaller and the bands have gotten smaller because the music is changing over the years too. Like now it's rock music, pop music. So it's not a 40-piece orchestra. You don't need that. Maybe you need 10 or 12 or something.
True. Okay. So there's that's still a good amount of people there though.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
For this show, I think we had 19. We were a pretty decent-sized orchestra.
Now, when you're in the orchestra, you're probably front and center. Like you have a lot of space considered, compared to
what do you mean
like your drum set takes up a lot of space.
Yes, the
so
drums and percussion always takes up the most room, and everybody's mad at us.
So it's like the fountain of the thing. It's like the water fountain.
Everybody's mad at us.
Everybody loves it. I can't believe it. So when you did The Producers, was your family were coming? Like how many tickets?
Yeah, everybody came, and we ran for 7 years. So it was great.
You played for that long?
Yeah, but you don't do it all. Like as musicians, we can take breaks and do other things. We're very lucky. We have a contract that allows us to sub out, which is how I got my start on Broadway, was subbing for somebody else who wanted to take off and go do another gig.
Yeah.
That was when I did Miss Saigon. And so that's what we do between shows too, because shows most often they will close at some point. After Producers closed after 7 years, I was out of I didn't have another steady show.
Right.
Again, for I think another year and a half. So
Yeah.
I went back and I subbed around
Oh,
at all my
right.
friends'
Okay.
other shows that were.
So there's always work. You can always get work. Well, once you're in.
Yeah, that's
so
the
you
thing.
got in.
Yeah, I
God.
was very fortunate.
So is this the longest running?
That was the longest one that I did.
This one is.
Yeah.
What's another long running one? You said something about.
Well, I just finished Come From Away.
Oh, really?
That show about all those planes that were grounded in Gander during 9/11.
That's what
If
it's
you-
about. God.
Yeah. It was a
Really?
great, great show. We ran for 5 years.
What was the music like?
It was really cool.
creepy,
I
like-
never played anything like it. It was a
John
mix
Williams-y?
of Newfoundland music, which is kind of a blend of Celtic
Okay.
and country
so
and
neat.
pop. Yeah, it's its own
Really?
thing. Yeah. So we had very specific instrumentation that I've never played with before. We had a guy who played whistles and pipes and flutes. That's all he played. And then we had an accordion player.
Oh, how
and we
fun
had
is
a guy
that?
who
Oh, I
played
love that.
the bowron, which is a round frame.
I know what it
drum.
is.
Yeah, and you play it with a little paddle, and you play like that, and you bend the head.
I
and
think
everything.
Dan Ringrose had that on last
Yeah,
time.
it's a
I think
traditional Celtic instrument as well.
It's like a banging drum thing. He had it on last time.
Yeah, it's a drum.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
But so that was a great, great show.
So you just finished that one. That was really? How many shows did you have to do?
A lot. Yeah, I never counted them.
Like
but it was 5 years. We ran for 5 years. I mean, not counting the pandemic. We had to shut down.
That's long.
It was great.
Oh my
5
gosh.
years was a big hit. There were 5 productions around the world at one time.
So now when you go in and you're going to work on, whatever, you're driving in to do a show,
Uh-huh.
are they afternoon shows and evening shows all over the place?
No, they're typically always at night.
They
and
are?
then on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we'll do matinee performances.
Okay, and that's
For
back to back.
people, yeah.
Okay.
So like on a Wednesday, we'll do a 2 o'clock
That's
show.
a lot.
And then
That's
an
a
8
lot of
o'clock.
work. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is. Yeah.
And it's exhausting. And you do it 8 shows a week. Your whole life kind of has to revolve around that. And what I was saying before is we're very lucky we get to sub out and take off. So we can take a vacation if we want, or we can go and do another gig to keep our chops up. Like a lot of people will go and play at something at Carnegie Hall one night and play in a big orchestra and, with the biggest artist or a big
Like on
star.
a lower level, would it be like if you worked at a restaurant and you were like, hey, could you cover this shift for me? I'm doing something else, like kind of thing. You could ask somebody to do it, and then
Yeah, you're just getting somebody else to cover for you.
I think that's great.
And that's where a lot of musicians will get their break. That's how I got my big break.
Yeah.
Was I went and covered for somebody at Miss Saigon.
What time? How old were you when that happened? Like
I
40,
was
35?
26.
What?
I was a baby.
It's like a LeBron James
I
story
was
in
a baby.
basketball.
I was so lucky.
So you were lucky.
I'm very lucky.
Well, yeah,
I was
you're
in the right
talented.
place, the right
Talented.
time. Well, here's the thing. You have to have the goods. You've got to be
Right,
talented.
you've got to be talented.
Because- and
Nobody's
then-
going to give you anything.
Exactly. And you don't get any rehearsal. You don't get when you go and sub on a Broadway show. You take the music and you learn it at home.
That's it.
And then
then
they'll
you
give
just
you
start?
one show.
Oh, yeah, like
And they
one
say
dress rehearsal?
"Come." No
Nothing?
rehearsal. You get a show, and you go in and you sink or swim. So you have to know that music so well, and you have to do a perfect job. Otherwise, you get fired, and they'll never ask you
Oh my
back.
God! How long do
level-
you think it takes you? Are you quick? Like, is it quick for you, or do you just like? I
Well,
know
it
Georgia.
depends
Like,
what the show is.
yeah,
You know,
true.
and what the music is like.
Right.
I mean, some shows that I went and subbed were very easy because it was just like
You're
songs.
familiar with it. Yeah, you're familiar with it.
And then other shows like Miss Saigon was the hardest thing I ever did in my
It
life.
was? That was the first.
Insane.
God.
I was so lucky
What
to
is
be
that one about? I'm thinking it's like
Miss Saigon.
Yeah.
It's about Vietnam.
It is?
And the soldiers that went over there and all the children that were left there because they had
was it
sex with a lot of people
Vietnam
who.
War?
Yeah, it was all about that.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And
Yeah, they did.
so there's the story is because then they made everybody get out of there, and so they left a lot of kids and wives
That's what it's about?
behind.
I don't
It's
know
about
that
it's a
name
love
because I
story.
don't know.
It's a love story all
I
about that.
didn't know that.
Yep.
That
And
must be a really good show.
It's
So it's
a
an American
great-
guy
it's a-
that hooked up with a Korean
Yeah,
girl,
a GI went over there.
had kids with her, whatever.
Vietnamese
Or
woman.
had
Yeah.
one or two.
Yeah, and that story, she had one.
But that's just
and
one
then
family.
They said,
So it
they
happens
said
to a lot of people.
all the soldiers, all right, we're getting out, and they were
Left the lady
there.
there with a kid. Oh, that's
So the story is
didn't
about
know
how he gets back there to get her, and
Does he get her back?
well, I kind of not gonna ruin it for people if they haven't seen
I
it.
can't believe it's really good. I can't believe
It's a great show.
I should have
Anyway,
more Broadway
the
shows.
most difficult thing I've ever played
really
in my
was?
entire life.
It was? Oh,
So hard. I practiced for a month straight.
You did?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Where's that bit? Okay.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I got to look at it. So you practice for like a month straight?
A month straight, and I went in,
swim?
and luckily, I didn't know this at the time, but they were firing percussionists left and right. They were coming, a percussionist would go in there, not do so great, and get fired. I didn't know that. I was naive. I just moved to town. I was like, I got a break. I'm going to, go for it. So I practiced so hard.
Yeah, you got to go and see that.
I practiced so hard.
That's a lot of it, too. So practicing.
And luckily, I went in there and nailed it.
Huge.
That time I was nervous. You asked me if I was nervous. I was nervous. Because the drummer was sitting next to me, and I was playing all the percussion stuff.
Who's judging you? Another drummer, or like a?
Well, everybody in the whole band, really. But ultimately, the conductor. It's their call. If they don't like you, you're out. Yeah. So,
Jesus.
I was nervous because I knew a lot was hinging on that,
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a great job. So luckily I did.
You did. Yeah, thank God.
And then because that show was so notoriously difficult, everybody in town suddenly knew who I was. Hey, have you heard? There's this new kid in town, Larry Lelli. He just aced it over at Miss Saigon. You should call him to come. And so my phone started ringing.
Oh God, this is like so exciting.
Lucky. I was so lucky.
Well, you know what? It's that.
I mean, I worked really hard.
I know.
But still, you have to be ready when you get that chance.
Right. And
when the door is open, you've got to go.
When the door is open, your
Yeah.
lights are off. It's musicians and artists. Yeah, they're in another
Exactly.
world. Exactly.
So I was very lucky that I knew the opportunity that was before me.
I can't believe it.
And then I ended up falling in love with Broadway.
Really
I mean,
did.
I really did. It wasn't anything that I had set out in my career, It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go play drums on Broadway.
I can't even believe that happened to you.
Just kind of rolling.
I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
And then what other shows do you like that you've done?
Oh, gosh.
A lot,
I've done
right?
so many great ones.
A lot?
I did one called $1 Million Quartet.
Really? You love that one?
I loved it because it was all about the music. It was about Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins.
Who's Carl Perkins? I never heard of him.
I know, he was kind of an unsung hero. Not a lot of people know about him, but he wrote a lot of songs.
Did he die in a plane crash like a lot of them did?
I don't think so. I don't
Richie
know.
Valens and all that.
Right, no, Buddy Holly, no.
No.
I don't think so, but he wrote a lot of songs, and then like Elvis would do his song, or Johnny Cash would do his song, or Jerry Lee Lewis would do his song.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a joke in the whole show that he would go, "My song, that's my song."
It's hilarious. What was that one called again?
$1 Million Quartet,
Okay, that's
which is based on a real story. Sam Phillips is the guy who founded Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And he's the one who discovered all those guys. We know them because
He's the
he
guy from the
discovered.
Elvis movie? When I saw the Elvis movie, he's the guy that played
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I
don't,
think he was.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I didn't see the movie. But anyway, so one Christmas one year,
Yeah.
Sam Phillips invited them all over to the studio to have a Christmas party, to hang around and sing Christmas carols and have some punch and whatnot,
Yeah.
He recorded it. He ran the tape in the recording studio, and he recorded their whole day. And they sat around playing songs, telling stories, talking about their girlfriends.
I love that.
And somebody wrote a play about it, $1 Million Quartet.
And that's what it was
And
about.
that's what it was. It was all us on
my
stage. We were all in costume. I had lines. I had to be an actor. It was so much fun. I had a wig.
You did?
I looked like Buddy Holly.
That's
Nobody
hilarious.
recognized me.
Oh my God, how fun is this?
We had so much fun.
And then what about afterwards? Like, you guys are pretty disciplined to be able, if you're working on Broadway, everybody probably thinks it's every night's a party, but it's not true. It's sort of
Well,
like, everything's really.
It can be. Some
But
people-
what about the last night when the lights, the last night when the
Oh, sure.
theater, everybody goes
Sure.
wild?
Oh, sure.
And like, where do people go? Do they go to like the hole in the wall that no like locals would ever go to?
Yeah, usually.
Like, no tourists would ever be there. It's like a dive.
actually, Nathan Lane is, there are some
like a
places
dive.
that are famous for just Broadway hangouts.
Yeah.
That we go to after the show, so we can go have dinner or have some drinks, kind of chill out.
Like St. Mark's Place? Like
Can't say any of them. I can't tell. But but they exist, and we go there. And
Oh, that's so
actually,
cool.
when the Producers was running,
'Cause there
right
are
next
those,
door
they
to
never
us.
go anywhere. Everybody thinks you're at the Ritz, but it's
Right.
they're at the biggest dump in the world, but they won't tell you.
Well, this wasn't a dump. It was a
wasn't a
nice
dump?
place. It was
It
a
was?
great steakhouse called Angus.
Oh, yeah?
And we would go there because it was co-owned by everybody involved with the show. Yeah, that's coming out so great.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
and
so
then we
slow. I'm so slow. I've got to catch up.
On the way up.
I've gotta catch up.
We've done them like on the way to the car.
I'm totally blowing these letters right now.
The letters are hard. This is just fun.
But so we would go there every night on the third floor. That was
10 minutes. That's perfect. We got tons of time. So
we
you
would
go to Angus.
Yep,
Now,
go
where
to
was
the
that?
third
Like
floor.
Midtown?
No, it was right next door to the theater, right next to St.
really?
James. Yep.
That's
it's not
so
there anymore,
fun.
sadly. But that's where we would go
like,
and hang.
crowd would be there pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
You knew
They
that
would be
any night
waiting
you would
for
go there, there'd be your friends would be there. It's like Cheers, you know. It's
I
a bar
love
that you know.
Oh, wait, what were you just saying? Something about Cheers? No, Seinfeld. He wrote
Oh,
an
Seinfeld.
episode of Seinfeld.
Well, yeah, but it never aired because they
never
canceled
aired.
the series. Yeah.
They canceled the series, but his was,
Was
in
my-
air. And then your
that was
agent
my-
said you just lost $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
And so I gave up TV writing. I was so bummed out
could have
about
done
it.
TV writing.
Yeah, I was so bummed out about it.
What's that like? Is it fun? You think that's fun?
Well,
It's gotta
it
be.
was for me because I wasn't on staff. If you're on staff, it's notoriously difficult and stressful job.
I would think
Like
I'd
you're
start
locked in a
writing about
room
like my husband
with
and my
10
kids,
other
and they
with
get
10
mad
other
at me.
writers, and the producers are coming in yelling at you. We need pages, you know. Where's that script? Or especially like for Saturday Night Live, where they're doing a brand new show every single week.
That's hard.
Or any of the sitcoms, it's very stressful and very hard and very demanding, and it's hard. You've got to be really skilled and talented to come up
It's
with.
a good thing that didn't work out because your thing was the drumming.
I know. I'm very fortunate it didn't work out because I love what I do now.
How, like, God, what do you do with the drums? You just leave them at the theater? Like, can you leave
Well, when
something
it's
like that there?
yeah, you have to.
You can?
Because everything's close mic'd. It's once you set up your drums at the beginning of run, it's
You can use
there.
This one too, see, because it makes it skinny,
I know. Yeah.
just in case.
Well, I'm trying this. I just think I've
Yeah,
got
I'm
the
crazy
fun.
with the brushes. There's so many different kinds. Like you can tell, this is probably the best.
It's just my
brush.
technique that's
My
the problem.
dog
It's
got
not the
it.
brush.
Yeah,
It's
dog
my
got the
technique.
end of this one. Yeah. But we were saying, I just can't believe you wrote an episode of Seinfeld. Imagine that. So one
It's
episode,
so
that's
funny.
what something like that pays, $1 million for an episode.
Well,
But
no,
yeah.
it's, you know, you get paid for reruns and syndication and over the lifetime of a script, especially for a show that's that popular. You know, it was the biggest show in the world at the time. It was the most popular show in the world.
Now he's done Broadway.
Yes.
Jerry?
Well,
Kind of.
his own performances.
Oh, he has. Okay,
you know.
just like that. Yeah, yeah.
Not like a show, though. Although Larry David, the guy that he created
It's hilarious.
Seinfeld with, he's done Broadway. He's done a show on
has?
Broadway. He's
Have
acting
you
on
ever
it.
met him?
I have, and I
he
actually
nice? He looks
was in the
hilarious.
producers
He
on
was?
his show. Remember the show Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I love that show. He's
He
crazy.
he came to New York to film his show with us at the theater, which was a blast.
He's a blast.
Because in the show Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yeah.
he joins the producers as Nathan Lane's
yeah.
character,
Oh,
Max
yeah.
Bialystock, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so Larry David came to New York. We filmed the show. We
His
filmed with
job
our
is a
cast.
blast.
Oh,
I can't even believe this.
I'm so lucky.
Crazy.
We have so much fun.
And everybody is like, you know, when people say like,
Oh.
"Oh, I heard that Susan Summers was mean," it's like you can't just. You got to do it. You got to meet them yourself.
I have
right?
only worked with, you know,
Never met anybody mean.
well,
Maybe
yeah,
one.
one.
But we won't say.
we won't
say. We can say
there
that
was
it was a
one
guy.
over the top
Probably
over the
a lady.
years.
It's usually a lady.
But no, it was a guy. But anyway,
Sorry.
most
lady.
of the people, I mean, look at what we do for a living. It's incredibly hard work,
Demanding.
but it's our joy. It brings us joy. And to go out there and to play and for 3 hours and entertain 2,000 people every day, I mean,
That's
what a
how
gift.
many people go to it.
What a gift. Well, it depends on the theater. You know, 2,000. If you go to
That's
Wicked, that's
so
2,000
exciting.
people in there.
Can
It's
you
so
wear whatever
exciting.
you want, or do you have to wear some fancy thing where you're like standing?
No,
up
it
with
depends on the show. Sometimes we
tails
wear
and
like
stuff.
when I played Gypsy
Yeah.
with
They have
Patti
a costume
LuPone.
sometimes for you. Sometimes.
Well, we wore tuxedos because we were on stage,
Oh yeah.
and there would be a big reveal, and they would, you know,
That
pull the
must be
curtain up,
so
and there
cool.
would be the whole orchestra on
that's
stage
so
playing.
cool, with the
It was-
lights coming
it was
down.
so much fun. We had so much fun. And Patti LuPone, I mean, what a talent.
Who's that?
Oh, you haven't heard of her?
No.
She's a
No.
huge star.
She is?
Huge
Patti
star.
LuPone.
You probably, if you saw her, you'd probably recognize her because she's done film and TV as well. She's
Really?
a very, very big star.
She
Won many
is?
Tony Awards.
She's hilarious too.
Hilarious. Her performance was different every night. She would sing differently every night, the way that a true artist does. And it was so thrilling and exciting.
It was God.
Hilarious,
Really?
too.
This
Oh,
is so
I love her.
fun.
I love
So
her.
now, do you ever do an Italian musical? You know, where they're in like a, you know, I don't know, what do they call those? What do they call those?
I don't know what you're
Operas, like opera.
Oh, an
ones?
opera. Yeah, I've played operas.
Oh, you
before.
have? Oh,
yeah, yeah.
God, that's crazy.
But it's not my favorite thing.
And you know what? I'll send him home with the brushes and some paint.
Yeah, you might gonna need.
Yeah, I'm sending him. Well, you said you used to paint.
I did. I used to.
paint.
Back
Just
when I
on
had free
time.
time.
There's no time. You've got to work on your next $1 million project.
I know.
I can't believe it.
I'm
so
very
next up is a new musical. We got 5 minutes. We got a ton of time. So new musical.
Yeah.
How did you find out when you someone calls you and says, "Hey, you want to do this one," and then you decide? Is that what happens?
Yeah. And sometimes...
Is it the same person, like your agent?
No, but
it could
have tended to work with a few different music directors. The relationship between the drummer and the conductor is probably one of the most important relationships in the theater. Yeah,
it is,
because that's the power for the entire show. Everything. If you don't have those two people there,
the whole orchestra,
yeah,
right?
Everything. The actors, just the cues for the lights and the sets.
What's the conductor like? Like they're all different.
Well, it's a very high pressure gig.
It is.
But which I get to do as well. I'm so lucky.
It is?
Yeah, I love it.
You do?
But it's super important. So when you tend to make a good relationship, a drummer and a conductor, you'll tend to work together a lot, and you just go around to different projects. And I've been lucky that way to do that.
If you get the chance to work with the same conductor that you like, will you just take the show just because it's him?
Oh, yeah. Most of the time.
Are there any lady conductors?
Yes, there are.
Oh, there are?
Yep.
Good. We like that.
Yep, there's some great ones.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh. I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. It's so much fun.
So lucky. So much fun.
So if you do go, I know a lot of people around here. I mean, usually a Broadway show, it's probably gone up. I'm going to say when I went, I could get a good ticket for like $98, $120. Is that
you
relatively
still can,
good?
Yeah, you can
still get a ticket for about that much?
If it's not like one of the, like Hamilton or something like that.
Oh, is that a big one?
Yeah, that's a big hit. That might be hard to get a ticket for that price. But most of the shows these days,
you can, yeah.
Especially if you go on a weeknight, you can get it probably around $100, $120 or something like that.
Okay.
Or you can spend for like really, really great seats, and it could be up to $400.
They really could?
Oh, yeah.
What's the best part to sit in? Like if you're...
I like to sit in the front of the mezzanine.
The mezzanine?
Mezzanine, yeah, like the balcony.
Balcony.
Yeah.
That's above the orchestra.
Right.
So if I
because you're still
it would hit Larry in the head.
like if this is where the stage is, like how can I do this for the people to see?
Yeah.
Here's the stage here, and the seating is out here. You'll have the orchestra seats here, and then you'll have a mezzanine here, and the mezzanine overhangs a bit, so you actually get to see the whole show.
Orchestra.
Yeah, there's nobody in your way. You know, you don't
You're
have
like
to worry about.
Rose and Jack on the Titanic at the front. Yes.
Right,
on the front
exactly.
of the Titanic.
I'm flying.
I'm flying. So we got probably a couple minutes. We're just going to blab and finish up these. Now, even if we don't finish, because mine's not done, his isn't done, we're close. But basically...
Your letters are so good.
Yeah. You know what? Mine kind of smudged over. We've got 2 minutes. It's a ton of time. Everybody's like, oh, my God, it's no time. But it really is. So, yeah, basically black and white, anything in between is gray. You know, we do these a lot. If you're ever, like, trying to do... I did 2 murals in West Hartford Center, 10 feet by 10 feet. And I did them just like this. And I used a projector because they were 10 feet by 10 feet. I'm not sketching that stuff. I'd be there for weeks and it wouldn't be worth it. But if you are a Broadway fan, I mean, how many run at the same time? A lot?
41 Broadway theaters.
There are?
Most of them are full all the time, yeah. There's a short turnover between shows. One show closes, then it'll be empty for a month or so before.
Do you have a favorite one, like the St. James Theater?
That's one of my favorites.
It is?
Yep.
Does it look like that? Oh, no, that's just the...
Well, no, but...
Is it beautiful?
It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous old theater.
Oh, God.
So many historic productions have played in there.
Oh.
And I've played many shows in that theater. I love working in that theater.
Love the
people
St.
in the
James
theater.
Oh, nice. Oh, God.
They're great
You know what? If
people.
I was a little old lady or whatever retired, I would probably be one of those. What do you call them?
Ushers?
Yes, usher.
Yeah.
Do they make any money or volunteer? Volunteer.
No, it's...
They get to go to shows. Oh, they make money?
Oh, yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing it. I just don't know about the New York City thing.
You just have to deal with all the people coming in who are,
Well,
who don't come to theater very often and think they're in their living room and they're like
Karen. Yeah, we don't like
popcorn and
No, they don't know.
making noise.
No, they don't know.
Yeah.
So there's
you go to the theater, you're basically entering a contract
It really
with
is.
1,000 other people saying, we're going to sit here and be quiet and pay attention.
It really is. And if you have children that are going to act up, you don't act like you're some lady from the Hamptons. You can't.
Exactly.
You can be from the Hamptons, but don't bring the Campton kids unless they're well behaved.
Exactly.
We don't want them there. So thanks for tuning in to the Crack of Dawn with Larry Lelli.
Thank you for
It's
having me.
Lelli.
Yep.
And it's Italian. It's got to be. Who's Italian? Because he's like my husband. He's got the blue eyes and the lighter skin.
My dad.
He
my
is?
dad's side of the family's Italian.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even believe
And
it.
I love it. I go to Italy all the time. Well, with Georgia
You
and
go
Larry
everywhere.
and, you know,
go everywhere.
Christina.
We're gonna have you back on, Larry. We are
I
going
will.
out to Piccolo, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. I love it. Bye-bye.
The Saybrook Fish House in Canton has been serving fresh seafood, chicken, and steak entrees for 34 years, offering 3 cozy dining room settings, a newly renovated pub with craft beer, wine by the glass, specialty cocktails, and a lighter fare menu. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Reservations accepted for parties of 2 to 42, and gift certificates are also available. The Saybrook Fish House, nestled at the crossroads of Route 44, 202, and 179 in Canton.